Mama nyinachi ema makwaba ediba XTV anopa no nsia kasemre ena aso ena eye dwada ena eye ya womobosom ni de to se dwuna afempimye ne aduonu mienu no emu na enraso se nsem a yekoso ewo na otwe wieye wo ni ho ya boagbo ni nyina so ne so krogen ayede ebro se anopa no nsia kase ewo XTV so efrin krampo ni mantemu pokwase festos adun plaza building mo sanso okopiemu ewa befo tintan kase no so Facebook XTV GH, YouTube, XTV Ghana, TikTok, XTV 391, Twitter, XTV Ghana, Instagram, XTV Ghana. And I no pay in same be obete NSA. Openi kwasi prat. Ede ato aban enem se wonja se abini dom nyina wode subo ebo Ukraine ni Russia ntokwa no wochum se se na fango no ehuru kosoro no anu ayedindiro nti wonja sa subo na wode ebo Russia and offense no Ukraine ntokwa no. Sanso ewo nsem fufuru mu no aso ye no na ehwe nkwala na emaye edie no mo kan koso ahye wono omo aduane ede ma nkwala ne se wo mo hwe no mo aduane papa mfa ma san se de omo hye nyina aban no etimi ede ama wo mo sanso ubepie mu ewo oman Ghana mu a opani ba kwa wono opani a wada imani Africa no wo chirechire mu National Cathedral ya ehu sema ba be deja ewo oman Ghana mo chiremu se aman akodu a wo mo etimi esi National Cathedral no se kabotro mutimi edisi ye na fence no kwaya mu fa so edisi ye no wo chirechire ni nyina mu edit strength centrefo ani nyina mu ewo kasebo yi mu a ye de ebro Obaapa Mavis Akosua Atteh enimidi me na me de kase ebro afrigibre na me fa kasebo edi wu mu ankasa emfama Sayanshen sem na sidia na wapeni a wono ene yepeni pa woda insight the robokata krata no ano eyopeni kwasi prat junior wodi atodwa se ene de ukopiemu ewo biya hodo a womo eto fango na fango no kwa ena ekoso me prempre no diesel no eko 12 cedis ka bi krapo ebosa ebi enam 13 cedis Samsung ena petrol no so eno so kwa ena eko enim ama wiase ayedin ama fo bra bom asetena mo so ayedin enche kra ye ehye kan fo krapo dia ba beto dwa se wo mo hwe enim se na wotwe ekopem na wotwe ebesem no wo mo so ebeto eye hyentuadie no emo na no ena kwase pra junior HM se sa asem ya ACC wono de osusu se anka ban no ebetimi aye bibi pa e dia fafango na ekoso no na nso wo so biara abiri nyina na wose an ena Ukraine ni Russia ntokwa no eno ena mafango no ekoso Ukraine ni Russia ntokwa no ena maduani eni oman Ghana mu wochemu se na santokwa no kra no esi da ben na oman Ghana mu kra na esi yanka ebetimi ahaye se na ehaye ya na wochemu se aban no afede ya bre no kro so wontimi na de so ya mane fa nhye ni katri etu na se dia ekoso no emfa ye ho kra ntino wochemu se aban no kra no obetimi ateso eto nkakra na ewo fango no so aban na kasa wonti fi no wotifi so Ghana fo ye ho betimi ahenhan ye
so na kakra beto ho ni fango ho sem masa Ghana ni bia obetimi aba bontin ede ni sesi ni bu aka se fango problem ayenya ni Ghana ha no Ukraine Russia ekon na de ba no na onpa ban aban na sem onpa ban na sem o za ogu aban no kra woni ni dia bi kasa na sanya yasua dia koye nim adu achi ene oman ben na top fuel at spot market price Ukraine Russia nina what is affecting is the spot market price petrol bia ya top from January up to now. So yeah, ton spot market price then abanye incompetent and inefficient. We can't talk fuel on the spot market price. Futures, hedging, and so on. Any little fuel. And it's how Ukraine and Russia say, "Munjai can enjoy tie." We also can move go abanye anyone. Just one more name ni omo yo, and one more the omo top petrol at spot market prices. How? In any case. Spot market prices no indicative prices and actual price indicative price opening usual price build up ase no ebo na e dey ton almost say ex Rotterdam what you say this saying na say if you assume say the petrol was refined at Rotterdam no this is the price Nyaya to the to anyanya bia to free Rotterdam ana. So stop talking like that. And realistic. Stop talking like that. In any case, with the young fast spot market price na futures ni hedging and na ex Rotterdam mean you fan to change. What the tun change? And the petrol no wo koton filling station. Nebo a fan aye taxes and levies. Now taxes and levies mean am the kotoso. Taxes and levies me am it here me am buying the kotoso. In the buying the taxes and levies, a fan akwachu petrol, no small petrol, no born at Bisa. Now, but studio and I can say, and now buying the air. Mean I'm lawyer. Taxes mean I'm to new muscle. Levies mean I'm the to new muscle. One just has some can indicate here. And
so no ne power kasa ese ayo penny Kwesi Pratt Junior wono ene editor woda Insight newspaper no ano eya Peace FM so na enkombotwetwe etime ekoso ayenso ya febi ede ama wono na ya to ansem no so mebusum e wa fiye mo na ye maame no wo mo nu aduane ede ma ye ma no e wo school sahodo no wo mo ede wo mukukun kaka nyina ede gu ho se aduane no wo mo nya enua bi mo amfa ma ye ma ne nyina ene se wo mo chire mo se wo hwe mprepesi na nyema bo ayedin nyema bo ayedin papa wo mai Ghana mu a wonim na wukọ dwaso na usinsi musika se o meto we meto obi wakoduru no wanhwe ya udo nsapan ene bebevie sante bibia etimi ehuru akosoro pa ewe ha adwene papa enu nti no omudi akwakoto aban enim se sika aban edi ma omo nyina ene se abofre biara no aban ni tua ne sika eye 97 pesos ene aduane a ye wo se ye di ma akwala no wo mo chem se se na nyema bo ayedin ho behia se aban no wo beto mu kakra wo bepeje mu kakra edi ama omo kwakoduru eye 3 series omo bom humodin endie omo ye ye kire no betri dawere omo twi dawere sa na so aban no enya ade a wotimi etie wo mo na so na otwe wie ye nyankopon cha ade aban no wetie wo mo asopemu anprepen no wa hye se wo mo nyina wo mo sanso kobium na wo mo enkoye wo mo edwuma na senti no eye wo so afa wo no na ehwe nkwala ema ne wo mo yedie no mo kankoso eye maami Cecilia Abnada pa wo no eye caretaker wo no na wo gina eye Sarah Adwasafo anemu edi dwuma ewo nechi na wo boni humodin ekopie mu ewa sante mantemu ekohwe se a ya hye se wo mu enu aduane efa ma nkwala no aduane etisen ya na ne mo na wo no mu kasa ne wo twem se de mosimu petrisi ye de twisis na amamo de mo hwe se aduane a modu be ma nkwala no enye aduane papa a hye se aduane mu ahode no nyina no ewo mu na wo mu ndi a wo mu nya ahode no mutimi enya adwempa nso emfensu ade.
We are here we did at the garrison schools to make sure we monitor the quality of food being given to the school kids or school children. We also want to talk to the teachers, the head of the institutions, and also the children themselves, so that the story will be complete. It's one thing for the coordinator to tell me, oh, we cook good food. We cook the best. We need to find out for ourselves that indeed the money being expended on school feeding is used to cook for the children. And the cooking should be during the school period. The food should be delivered on time, nutritious, and also very hot. We also inspected the kitchen to make sure the food is cooked in clean surroundings. So I will say personally and officially, my report will read quite good.
Intina onyonyam ne Cecilia Abnada pa wono ene ye caretaker edema eye gender children and social protection wono ene wodi sansem nyina etuja santimantem woni nsentrefo share ene wodi sansemi wodi etuja na ye to ansem no so ayenko piemu ewo techima eye mahebedwani owo honom eye onyonyam ni mantin eje mensa kosa wono so abone homodin papa wo chiremu se waye nhihye wo boa papa se ehumesua ebetimi akonkan na kadia hodo ebeboa mehumesua etimi akonkan no ebi eye bus a ebetimi aboa school for no etimi dia fa omu bebi bi omu free ba bia ebetimi akwakofo omu edi free abe school mo ponso a ebetimi edi omu akofefefe se ko ba ne sam ko di dwuma bi nso a on betimi enya bus atrem akwako di dwuma fefe etimi aboa mehumesua adekire nso etimi akonkan ti watam eye bus kese pa cha se brand new one kasam wode akoma eye Techima Senior High School ye from omo eye eye super test for wetimi edi basi edi akwakoma wo ne yen sentweni a wobutu eye bunu is anapose techima honom no eye openi agewudin na nadwomo wono ene boaboa nsem nyina ano edi maya wo to asa akase so edi amayen
Beye mfi kakrani Techiman Senior High School ede adwan honorable Martin James Akosa ho se omomodin so obema wo school bus na eye nije Samson kokra bra ene honorable Martin James Akosa mrahye bedwani ma Techiman South ede brand new bus ekoma Techiman Senior High School
ene yakọ Techiman Senior High School super test bus fufuro pa brand new chiao Roba
aye nije Samson ko a Techiman Senior High School ekita sa basi headmaster ade maskui ene school for no ehun de wonye wo ho
enoma na anyema mi san say and then so nadom na da roma ne akuma pa wo maskui wetumi apre ami enya basket
Michael Foundation eye adwumaku a ensha banase a dwamtenani eye yewura Martin James Akosa one backside for akambo mu a oma ema bosia ya nsi hu esi hu nyina no Michael Foundation no afa
yes ye nim de yenka so wana bufuo nyina mpisfuo nyina aya ade ya nadai ya hu ye ni so a eki nim de beye eti de ka se nyame nto no kwa mu moso bebire omnyankopon enhyira one nasefuo nyina na ne pop
Michael Foundation aye ni je Samson ko a Techiman Senior High School ekita sa basi headmaster ade maskui ene school
fuo nyina na ne papa
Ira Martin James Akosa edi nkonwa eguheyi ahye Ghana Education Service for ensase onye na esukufo bi a wo Techiman South abato mpesua so a onya table ni akonwa ntena so ensua de yie no onfama wo
nkonwa ne table teacherfo ne esuafo be ahenan akufo ado aban NPP aban a Techiman suma se yenko ginam na yempre ho chefa ma ho but yesu Freddy bi aba
Beye mfi kakrani Techiman Senior High School ede adwan honorable Martin James
no eye mashibedweni a wogire mudi ma de hye omo Techima batom peso so eye Martin James Akosa na wabone homodin edi se adwuma yi na eno achi woti ye de wabone homodin eni edwedifo ekokasa na nyina ene se wetimi amomulon a chese nsihu bia eni ho na we no wagumukra edi amawomo a won benya bredodo pa etimi edi etua ne kakra wochiremu se we nyina eye mode bo a wobo se na be ya wobetimi ebua edwedifo a womo ewo ne mpesua so eho no wochiremu se enede ubepiemu wiase nyina se na Ghana ena wiase nyina se kasem eho etimi aye den no edwadifo ye mamenem womo nkon ma enya de yensa etimi ekoya no enti eho akwakohia ese emu ahodo wo mbehia no metimi edidi dwuma na etimi ebua Ghana ye economy no so no wono so afa de ato no se wobehwe na wetimi ede ama womo no bo ne homadim etimi ma ebinim nyensikai beye 1000 Ghana ede kopin 5000 eno no se na wo pe no se na wa ho de betume no na wetimi ede ama we insihu biye ne ho enye se wo tua 1000 ye ma 1000 oba betua 1002 anapose 1005 de bi we insihu biye ne ho se na ye de ma no sa pepepe na no mo ena wo de etu eye edwadefo nyina enim se wo mo bom homodin we de ne nsada ne nsin kotodwe gufom se na insihu biye ne ho mo fa nko di dwuma na ho mra mfaso na emre no so se wo betua wo mo entua ne fefefe se na be ya obi fufro so a wono so epa busia ibi no wono so ne nsa ebetimi aka na ono so etimi aboa no na bia ya ono so konyi asaske wetimi edi akwa hyew nti wo pani eye mahebedweni edima adehye omo Techima abato mpeso so Martin James Akosa ena wabone homodin a wodi bus akoma school for enu echi wosanso edi dex aka ho sanso edi loan en apose ebisia edi ama edwedifo a omo wona empatem ho atwese nipa womo edi saa bisin edi momo omo bru eye 500 a wodi saa sike etimi edi ama so mfehye omo dwedie ni mo ne entimi bua omo na bibibia enkonkan emfa ma womo na chese insemi nyina ye sentweni a wobutu eye buno ismante mu techima ne mpetem eye ajiwudin na nadwumo wono ene boabo ansem nyina ano edibre ya ye kenken bi ede amawo ye nko ne nkopie mu ewo nofton abaton pesoso mahebedwani a wo honom eye nonyam ne Samuel Okujeto Abrakwa na National Cathedral ho semsemi a ye kan ye nkan wieye na no na wo twemu se sa wo hwe dia ekoso ewo National Cathedral no mu a aban no wo se abra nanka aban no wodi asobe kwakosi fom mpo ansana ye hye eye National Cathedral no ase no na amafo bi ewo ho lawyers fo ne judges fo bi na ho ene omote aban no bo ne homodin ekotu wo munyina edifri ho no bi kire se ye be compensate wo mo ye be ye de eye ye be sere ye de skebi ebe ma mo ye be ma oba bi atena na kire se bibia etimi akonkan de amona nso wo kyem se ebe pem ne sasike ye ntua ma sankrofo ye no wasi sasike eso bo $6.5 million ene ye sika aban no ede a wo se ene de wo ntua mpo ye na so wa hyase eyi tax for anapo se Ghana for ye to kakra ye tua na we yi sika na wodi AC e National Cathedral na wo kyem se we nyina no ene ekire himfa.
You know the Judicial Training Institute was demolished. Do you know how much it's going to cost Ghana to replace that? Let me reveal for the first time, $50 million. That's what the Judicial Service has put together. We've talked about the bungalows. That's a separate matter. Because remember that when the bungalows were demolished,
there was renting for them.
There was renting for them, $5,000 a month, and then we are now constructing for them. They've even lost land because of that, because they had to negotiate with a private developer to take half of their land, and so you develop the other portion, and then the private developer takes over that portion of the land. So that's a separate matter. The Judicial Training Institute is going to cost us $50 million. The Chief Justice has been negotiating with the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development. Those negotiations have broken down. The ECOWAS Bank has walked away. They are not really interested. They have now opened talks with the World Bank. $50 million. At today's exchange, that is in excess of 370 million Ghana cedis. So when you tell us that the role of the state is just appointment of the architect and design team, which by the way is fresh information, it was not contained in any of the budget documents, land and this preparation, setting up and equipping the secretariat and seed money, you are not being particularly candid. The government continues with this opacity and the lack of full disclosure that has attended upon.
So now, Onyam ne Samuel Okujeto Abrakwa wano ya mahebedwani di ma adishi omo one of tongue about some peso na National Cathedral ho semsemi ya na Imani Africa nipa wano ene Vice President awoda no eye Bright Simons wano so e de atodwa SS wo hwe amaya hodra wo metimi esi National Cathedral na wo chechire mu ese ukopie mu e USA a wo mu disika botre $65 million na mutimi edisi na no kra no eye private ankrakra enye aban ni sika ena omudi esiye ukopie mu ewo France a wo mo so omudi na omusiye no wo mudi eye $790 million ena omudi esiye no eno so kra no eye private ukopie mu ewo Britain a eno eye St Paul Cathedral eye Anglican Cathedral na wo mo eye wo honom na eno so no wo mudi sika botre $230 million ena omutimi edisi eno so kra mpo no eye private ena wo mo eye nteba ne sen no man Ghana mu se yanso yesi ye besi de se sika botra ye di besi no enye sikawa enti wo chirechire mu se saban no se private a wo ma ye hu se wo wa hye wo nyankopon obo a ma ye wo se boshe na wo hye ye no wo na wa hye wo bo wo na wo se wo di boshe so se Ghana fo nso ene wo se ye bo an yetimi esi a aban ni chirechire mu na Ghana fo nyina ye ntimi enti ye ho ase.
Almost never built by the government, and I'll walk you through a number of the popular ones that have come up in the debate. So you take the U.S. Washington National Cathedral. What most people don't know is that it's an Anglican church. In the U.S., it's called an Episcopal church because the Anglican church in the U.S., that's how it's called. And this church, or this cathedral, is actually an Anglican cathedral. Its real name is the Cathedral of St. Paul and St. Peter. So the fact that it's often called, branded the National Cathedral, doesn't mean that the government of the United States went to find money and pumped it into it. The Christian community and ordinary people in the United States who love it for its history contribute, and it cost them about $65 million in today's money to build that with no government money whatsoever. Notre Dame has also often been mentioned as the National Cathedral of France. It's a Catholic cathedral. The Catholics ran it. They have custodianship. If you go to Jerusalem, you go to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, you find out that the Greek Orthodox have custodianship in different places, or some of the different nativist sites. You have the Russian Orthodox, etc. So typically you have these custodianship, and then they are responsible for finding the money to put into it. The Israeli government doesn't fund the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. It's not that. That's not how it works. In fact, Notre Dame was recently burnt down, and resources had to be found to restore it. If you've noticed, all the $790 million have come from corporate and private donations. Not a single penny, cent, dollar of government of France money has gone into Notre Dame, because it's a Catholic cathedral. It may be the national cathedral of France, the most impressive mother church of France, but that doesn't mean that you have to put government money in it necessarily. In the cathedral in Britain cost about $230 million. Interesting funding model. Special tariff on coal brought into the port of London is how they funded the cathedral. You will say, well, that is almost quasi-government. Well, the truth is that at that time, Anglicanism was the established church of England. What that means is that they had a national religion. And the head of state was also the governor of the church. And therefore, in that regard, if the City of London, with the approval of Parliament, decide to place a special tariff on coal imports into London to pay for it, it's understandable. But even so, it was not ordinary people's taxes in the consolidated funds, or the treasury, as they call it in Britain, that went into paying for St. Paul. You can think of Denmark, which is another religion, where the national religion is the Lutheran religion. And this is a Protestant country. And there also...
the power kasa a bright time or one a vice president Imani Africa. And waiting me actually, we are seeing in a national cathedral ye no, quite almost so ediate Ghana. So yes, a baby, dear Yensia, then free woman and change and instant with an anno pick a Sammy de Breono. Me finding in face, I was a Sonia brainy and that general share XTV and upon on Sia Cassie. Me fast down from my one original camera, Nechi and Mammy DJYS Fate. And she say Pintim Sanson, Uko Pimu or MCR, how do try me to a yellow, a bra Bismarck and so a tiny chi. Na Nipa Kunchin send you a good craft so a mammy and reporters and so do a moody episode a zinap a has. Me making Kadima one song a Obaapa Mavis Akosua. Me sorry sweet dear, not just say a good demon sem, the old pay the opa dear course on all 3 years, so wouldn't know ye didn't a bro. I mean, you have my mic Uferiata, Mr. What, Eddie Brody, Timo Filino, and I am say a momu and a share.